Hey, good morning, guys. This is for August 28th. Sorry, I'm a day late putting it on here, but August 28th, Luke 11:1. Lord, teach us to pray. There's several examples of the Lord teach us to pray from different gospels. This is Luke's account, and then Jesus teaches them a kind of a condensed version of, and whether that's a different time that they asked, or this is Luke's account of it, the Lord's Prayer. But what Chambers takes from it is really interesting. He's talking about what prayer changes, what it does, what it actually impacts or affects. And I think it's really important. There's one part of here that I thought was really enlightening to me anyway, but maybe this is just for me today. But one day, maybe in the future, it'll be for someone else. So we'll put it out here on the ether. So it's Chambers says it's not part of the life of a natural man to pray. Prayer is not something that comes naturally to us. So that is, I find that to be something that frustrates me. And sorry, I've got dust in my eye from yesterday doing construction, and if you, it's bothered me. So sorry, apologies for that. Maybe I'll pray about it. um, that's not my natural tendency to pray. My natural tendency is to do something about it. And so I can appreciate what he's saying. When a man is born from above, he's saying when we are reborn or born again, the life of the Son of God is born in him. Okay, so the life of the Son of God is born in him, and he can either starve that life or nourish it. And so we are starving daily. We are starving or nourishing by prayer or lack of prayer that part of God that's been planted in us. And prayer is the way that the life of God is nourished, he says. The Bible idea of prayer, a little bit down a little further, is that we may get to know God himself. So prayer is not for us it's not a wish list for sure. It's to get to know God. And so if we thought about it that way, okay, this is how I get to know God, by praying. And I think a lot of times we don't think that. We know it's an obligation. We know it's something we're supposed to do. And we do it, and we make requests and petitions and intercessions, and that's all good, but not if at the end we don't know God any better than when we began. He says when a man is at his wit's end, it is not a cowardly thing to pray. It's the only way he can get into touch with reality. And that's one thing I was going to address here with this last part, the true reality. How we get in touch with true reality is important, because sometimes we think the temporal is very important when it's not. Be yourself before God. Present your problems, the things you know you've come to your wit's end over. As long as you're self-sufficient, you do not need to ask God for anything. Self-sufficiency is the opposite of, obviously, of the dependence on God. I love this last part, and I'll break it down a little bit. I got a little bit of time. It is not so true that prayer changes things as that prayer changes me, and I normally change things internally within me. God has so constituted things that prayer on the basis of redemption alters the way in which a man looks at things. So the way that God has designed it, prayer alters the way in which a man looks at things. Prayer is not a question of altering things externally, but of working wonders in a man's disposition. So what Chambers is getting at here is that although prayer does impact the external, impact the temporal, what it more importantly and more directly and crucially impacts is me and my relationship to God, which is the eternal peace, and others and their relationship to God, which is the eternal peace. So I think even praying for healing sometimes, we think that we put this hyper focus on healing. And by the way, I hate suffering. I was recently sick, and I just realized, oh, I'm not sick very often. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at being sick, and I hate the way it makes me feel. And so being healed is something that gives me relief. But that's still just temporal. Even being raised from the dead, as Lazarus was, is temporal. And so what prayer actually impacts is the eternal. That's the most important thing prayer impacts, is the eternal. And so if we only pray for the temporal things, if that's the extent to which we pray, give me this, give me that, do this, do that, I think we're totally missing it. And we're completely missing the change it makes in our hearts and the hearts of others as we get to know God better. So I think, and it's the relationship of a child and a parent. You think if your child only comes to you and asks for stuff, and that's the extent of your relationship, how shallow and meaningless and disappointing that would be. So anyway, I think we need to learn to not ask for the temporal stuff as much as we ask for God to do something in our hearts and the hearts of others. So spoke to me. You guys have an awesome day.